Treachery in the Senate. The Jedi Council suspects that Senator Rush Clovis is secretly taking part in a separatist conspiracy. But to find out what the senator from Scipio is up to, the Council will need a spy of its own. Meanwhile, Jedi Anakin Skywalker has been away from Coruscant on a lengthy tour of duty leading the clone army. Now, Anakin returns for a long-awaited reunion with his wife, Padmé Amidala.
Ho ho! Greetings once again, Bucketheads. Mevar Tigar. Welcome to the 54th Senate Spying episode of Mando Vision. Nargai Tom, and thank you so much for checking out this small independent Star Wars podcast. Remember, the best way to reach out to us is via social media at Mando_Vision on Twitter and Instagram. Please email the show at mandovisiontom@gmail.com. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and share the show with all the other Mandalorians in your covert. Share with your friends in the blood feuds, in your life debts, every aspect of your life. You want to share this show with as many people as possible because we truly, truly appreciate it. If you're listening on Apple Podcast and you're able to and you're so inclined, 5-star reviews are the best way to help support our show. They mean the world to me. Thank you so very much. And remember, we are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Play, Pandora, Amazon Audible, and so many, many more. Hey, we're back. We're talking about the Star Wars, the Clone Wars. I know we've been, it's been Bad Batch Central over here lately, and that's a good thing. We're enjoying the heck out of that show so far. But we're also, we're juggling a little bit. We're keeping up with our rewatch of Star Wars, the Clone Wars, courtesy of that amazing streaming platform that we love so much, the Disney Plus. And yeah, we're getting into it today. We're doing Season 2, Episode 4, Senate Spy. And there's some stuff to talk about in this episode. Some wonderful things, and some things I had questions about, and I've tried to get answers. I've turned to the endless resource that is the internet to try and get a better feel for some of my questions. But I'm just gonna share them with you guys today, and maybe there is a galactic diplomacy expert on the listening right now who can help me with my questions, and so I'm gonna hold out hope that is how I get the answers that I need for this episode of Star Wars: The Clone Wars. All right, but before we can get into the show proper, we do have to take care of a little bit of business. You know what time it is? It's time. Strap on your buckets. Let's go.
Involved with the Separatist, the banking clan is. Discover the truth in this matter. We must.
I couldn't agree more, Master Yoda. But if Senator Amidala has already refused to spy on Senator Clovis of the banking delegation, I am not sure how we can change her mind.
That is why we asked you to summon young Skywalker.
I have been signaling him all night. I don't know where he could be.
Okay, like we said, Season 2, Episode 4, Senate Spy. The original air date for this episode was October 17th, 2009. We have a plot, as every episode does. At the Jedi High Council's request, Padmé investigates a separatist conspiracy in the Senate. All right, and this is this episode directed by very familiar names. We have Stuart Lee as our director once again. This episode is written by Melinda Sue, and Drew Z. Greenberg is the supervising scriptwriter on this episode. Our cast, very familiar cast, a lot of names we know so far from the series. Matt Lanter is Anakin Skywalker. Catherine Taber is Padmé Amidala. Robin Atkin Downs returns, this time as Clovis. Gideon Emery is Lot Dodd. Anthony Daniels, the one, the only, back as C-3PO. Tom Kane is Yoda and our narrator. James Arnold Taylor is Obi-Wan Kenobi, and a computer hologram, apparently. Terrence T.C. Carson is Mace Windu, and Matthew Wood steps up as Poggle the Lesser. And, he should get an award for being Poggle the Lesser. There's not a lot of words to say, just a lot of sounds, and Matthew Wood kills it on that front. Our Jedi fortune cookie for this episode, a true heart should never be doubted. This has to do with the coming test between Padme and Anakin as their young marriage is sort of pushed a little bit in the sense that we get to meet a former love of Padme's, and we use the word love just because it's a Star Wars family friendly kind of show. But yeah, a previous relationship, a previous suitor of Padme's comes back into the story basically, and she's being asked because of that previous relationship if she can be the one to do the spying on this senator who represents the banking clan, and apparently, as we know, the banking clan has ties to the separatists. So an interesting thing here. We're going to talk about Clovis a little bit more. What I do like about this episode is it is sort of a classic spy story. It's very John le Carré in here, but it's also it has some inspiration from an old Hitchcock film. You may know Notorious. It's from back in the day. It's an old Hitchcock film, one of his lesser known ones, but that's about spying. Obviously, with it being Hitchcock, it's centered around World War II and Nazis and things like that. But there are some strong similarities between that film and this episode of the Clone Wars. And so if you're a Hitchcock fan like I am, you'll note that, and maybe it even get you to want to revisit some of the older, lesser known Hitchcock films from back in the day. Yeah, so let's talk about Senator Clovis here for a little bit, just for a minute. He is the senator from Skippo. That's not right. But Skippo is one of the favorite games in this family, so we like to say he is the senator from Skippo. What I meant to say was he's the senator from Scipio, not Skippo. Again, a game that we play in this house quite a bit because we think it's a lot of fun. But Scipio is where Rush Clovis is from. Again, he is an interesting character in this episode because of his connections to the banking clans, which we know are basically funding the separatist armies. So he should be a character of note for Republic intelligence and Republic security to be keeping an eye on because again, banking clan connections. Who's funding the separatists but the banking clans? So again, that's why we're keeping an eye on him. Where I start to run into questions with this episode is he's going to go and he has a meeting planned with Lot Dodd, the Cato Nemoidian senator. And I guess what I want to know is, listen, I understand diplomacy and diplomatic actions and things of that nature, but what exactly is he trying to convey here? Like, what does Padme think is going on here? Why are you meeting with a senator who's representing the separatists? They have pulled away from the Galactic Republic. What is this senator a senator of now? Sure, he may represent Cato Nemoidia to some extent, but the separatists are the separatists. There should be, hundreds of empty seats in the Senate Hall from these planets that have left to have left the Republic and to gone off to form their own separatist coalition of independent. I think it's the Confederacy of Independent Planets. And so I guess I'm sort of curious, like, what is our diplomatic relations the same as they would be in a time of war? And I guess that's what I'm wondering. Like, why wouldn't the separatists take these Republic officials potentially as hostages and use them to leverage the things that the separatists want? Or is that out of bounds because of like diplomatic immunity and things of that nature? Is that what we're going for here? That's kind of where my questions come from, and I guess I just sort of wondered, like, when you're at war, like, how much talking is going on behind the scenes? And obviously you do have the politicians and that are suing for peace and trying to get the wars to stop. That's what this is viewed as. And again, I don't think Padme pushes Rush Clovis too hard on his reasons for going to Cato Nemoidia, because she is there to spy and see if there is more of a connection to the separatists than just him being a representative of the banking clans. So that's sort of where I get to with this episode and where some of my initial struggles come from. And it's just like, I'm not a politician. I'm not a bureaucrat. Surprise, surprise. And so that's kind of the things I wondered about with this episode. I just didn't quite understand what was going on as far as that kind of thing. Because I don't know. I'm assuming you're at war. You cut off diplomatic relations. Like, a person from the Republic probably shouldn't set foot on Cato Nemoidia unless it's within the confines of a battle. But what do I know? What do I know? That's my question here. If anyone out there has any input for me, set me straight. Let me know why I'm thinking about this, or what I'm missing as I think about this going forward for the episode. So our episode opens with a quiet moment between Padmé and Anakin. Anakin returning from the front, getting to see his wife again, spend some time with her. But because of their the strain that a secret marriage would have on a Jedi Knight and basically at this point, because of the Clone Wars, a soldier of the Republic, a general in the Grand Army of the Republic, and a senator. Not a lot of that. I would imagine the strain on that is pretty tough. You're living a secret life. You're lying to your friends. You're deceiving people. It has to take a toll. And again, and part of that is like you can't even be with that person that often. So that has to lead to a lot of frustrations. And then Anakin is basically hiding from the Jedi at this point, so you can spend some time with Padmé after giving back. And it's interrupted because this war is constantly evolving. There is no relenting in Star Wars. There's very few moments for quiet time and contemplation of evaluating your relationship. And is this secret life the way we want to go with this? But obviously it is. It is what has to happen for it to work, or Anakin would be expelled from the Order, and there'd probably be consequences on Padmé's end as well. So that's always beneath the surface whenever you see these two. But I like these moments a lot because we do get to see their relationship and their devotion and love for one another, because that's sort of at the key of what's going on here, and why another element of the show, and why it's so important to the overall Anakin mythology. Because the movies, the prequel movies, had to hit certain tent poles. Basically, they had to hit certain objectives. And so that middle ground between episodes 2 and 3, like that's where you're really supposed to see these two. Not only they fall in love in episode 2, but you got to see the stuff that goes on in between, and how they get from the events of episode 2 to episode 3, and sort of the deepening of that love and that bond that they share with each other. So these moments are very critical in that relationship, in that dynamic, and letting the audience see that yes, they are a true couple in love with each other, then that is of vital importance. Because, I mean, if you wanted to be a critic of the way they fall in love in episode 2, you can do that. This show shows us that it's real, though. It wasn't just manufactured because it had to be for the plot. Like no. Over the course of this show, even 2 seasons in, you've gotten a lot more detail on those two's relationship and the genuine, heartfelt emotions they share. But with this episode, this is where you get the sort of struggle that Anakin has, because we know Anakin is possessive. We know that Anakin has a hard time letting go. Anakin has a hard time not being in control at the same time. Anakin's turning into a bit of a control freak in his time. So he believes that keeping Padmé as far away removed from the war and from the front lines is his duty as like her husband and as a Jedi. But what we've seen from Padmé throughout the course of the trilogy, in the films, and thus far in the series too, not despite her penchant for getting captured and being made a prisoner somewhere, but they have not gone back to that trope in season 2. Luckily, we have avoided that. But we know that Padmé is capable. She's a capable fighter. She can handle herself. She's good with a blaster. But Anakin feels it's his duty to protect his wife, his love, and all that kind of macho male stuff that we don't look too fondly on anymore in our current day, and rightly so. So I want to play this clip from the episode as Anakin is being summoned back to the Jedi once again. This scene right here, as before he leaves, sort of helps set the tone for their next interaction, which I think is also really great. There's a lot of really good stuff between Padmé and Anakin here, and particularly Padmé asserting herself over Anakin in his attempts to, I don't know, I don't want to say like dominate her. That's not the right word, but to sort of like, protect her and keep her in like bubble wrap. Intergalactic space bubble wrap. She's not going to do that. So let's play this scene here before Anakin heads back to the temple.
I have to report to the Jedi Council.
Right now?
Actually, about 7 clicks ago. If I keep delaying, Obi-Wan will send a clone squad out to find me. I've been ducking his signals all night.
I understand.
I can sense that you're angry.
Don't think you can read my mind.
Padmé, you shouldn't take this personally. Duty comes first, especially in wartime.
And Anakin will be eating those words. Anakin will be eating those words very shortly. And I love it when she throws them back in her face. And trust me, we're going to play that scene too. But again, this sort of another reminder, the burdens of the secret life and Anakin's audacity about how duty comes first, which, if I remember correctly, in the season 1 finale, Padmé says something sort of similar anyways about her responsibilities as a senator. And you know, when Anakin's trying to get her to come out and play. So it's a fun back and forth with these two as they sort of, again, the struggle of that burden, the burden of that secret life and trying to find moments to be with each other. Two people who do genuinely seem to enjoy being with each other when you have these moments. But they're just few and far between. So one of them is always struggling or yearning for the other when the other's duty has to take precedent, when the other's responsibility has to take a precedent. But again, Padmé does not like having those words thrown at her when it comes to matters of the heart, and rightly so. So the next clip I want to play is the meeting at the Senate between Anakin and Padmé. The conversation here, the obvious jealousy that Anakin feels for anyone who is with Padmé, just even if it was before he was back in her life. Again, sort of hints of Anakin's inner turmoil, this emotional state that Anakin perpetually finds himself in, mostly due to the relationship with Padmé. And I love Padmé in this scene. I love how she asserts herself as a strong, independent person, as a strong, independent character in this, and she will not be steamrolled by Anakin and his wishes and desires and the sort of overbearing, overprotectiveness that he feels towards her, that he wants to, again, put her in intergalactic space bubble wrap. And so I'm going to let the scene play. It's a little long, so I will probably try to talk over the slower parts of it, but don't worry. It's really good. Here we go.
Senator Amidala.
General Skywalker, you finally found some time for me.
Are you still mad about last night?
Why would I be mad? I'm not mad.
Good. Now tell me about your dealings with Senator Clovis.
So you're here on Jedi business. I already told Master Yoda. I don't want to spy on a colleague and an old friend.
Old friend? How well do you know Clovis?
Why does that matter? That was before we were together.
The tone in this scene in particular is so interesting. I love their tone.
I am just trying to get a sense of who this guy is. I'll need to brief whoever does end up spying on him.
Oh, I thought you were here to talk me into becoming an agent for the Jedi.
That is not a job for you. I don't agree with the Council on this. If Clovis is involved in a separatist conspiracy, the last place you should be is anywhere near him.
Clovis is conspiring with the separatists? Yoda didn't tell me that. I can't believe Clovis would do that. This is terrible. I never expected that from him. Someone has to find out the truth.
Someone does. Just not you.
Why not me?
Because it's going to be dangerous. Whoever takes this mission will be putting their life at risk.
I've been in many tough situations before. It never seemed to bother you. I never stopped you from facing danger. You're constantly getting shot at.
I've been trained for that. It's very different from spying on a traitor.
You mean I can't handle the mission?
I mean, I'm not gonna let you do it.
You're not going to let me? It's not your decision to make. It's mine.
Lucky for us, you've already decided to refuse.
Actually, I just changed my mind. You've convinced me that it's vital to learn what Clovis is doing. I accept the mission to spy on him.
Even though I'm telling you not to.
Don't take it personally, Anakin. Duty comes first. Especially in wartime.
Boom. Suck it, Anakin. Oh, it's so good. I really like that scene a lot. Their tone with each other is it's just spot on. I mean, I think any of us who've been in a relationship at some point have gotten that tone, have had that conversation at some point when you're frustrated with the other person. There's so much in there that's relatable. Not the intergalactic war stuff and maybe spying, being a Senate spy. But you understand that a lot. I think it's extremely relatable, and as a man, I can understand that I have also chosen the wrong tact, and dug my heels in on stupid things that was like, oh, in hindsight, I was just wrong, and I just couldn't come to terms with it fast enough. And I think that's where Anakin kind of comes into play here too. Now, granted, again, I've never refused my wife the chance to spy on anyone. I actually encourage it. I wish she would spy on more people and report back her dealings to Master Yoda. But again, she, fast and loose with all the rules. That's how my wife plays it. So again, I just really like that aspect of it. And now we're gonna get to. Padmé's going to get the laid out of everything from the Jedi, what they want to have happen, getting back together with Clovis, and setting up this meeting on Cato Neimoidia, where Anakin's going to be her Jedi pilot and the overbearing protector. Obviously Clovis still has romantic feelings for Padmé. That's going to rub up against Anakin as he. I found it funny the way he maneuvers the craft in an effort to keep. Clovis away from Padmé at the same time. I got a little bit of a chuckle out of that, even though, again, his overprotectiveness and his lack of faith in his wife's devotion to him is ridiculous. Like, Anakin's clearly in the wrong for the bulk of this episode. Luckily, at this point, like his actions tend to be a tad more comical than they do to be just like crazy misogynistic or anything like that, or just the typical like alpha male sort of thing. Like he's frustrated, but he obviously knows that he can't stop Padmé at the same time, so he's gonna try and keep an eye out and be protective of her. But he has to trust her at a certain point in this episode. Does it reach its full level of trust? Does he fully invest in her and trusting her the entire time? No, he still struggles with that. There's not a real resolution to that. But again, that's sort of always going to be Anakin's thing. Is he's never going to be 100% confident that she can take care of herself. And again, this is the center of Anakin's fall to the dark side. Is that he feels the need that he has to be the one to protect and save everyone. And again, he's grievously wrong, and we see that. We know that is the fall of Anakin Skywalker. That is the rise of Darth Vader. You just kind of get that more crystallized in this episode, because there is no like moment where he comes to Padmé. He's like, I was so wrong to have doubted you. You sort of do, but you don't. But you don't, because with Anakin, it's always situation by situation, and he still thinks he knows better than everybody else. Part of his hubris. You know what I'm saying. It should be noted for the record that Rush Clovis is a creep, and so we don't condone his sexual advancements towards Padmé, unwelcomed and completely inappropriate, out of line. So just for the I wanted that noted for the record. We do not condone the actions of one Rush Clovis, Senator of Scipio. Not Scipio, Scipio. All right, let's go ahead. Let's get to it. We're at Cato Neimoidia. Everyone's meeting with each other. They're trying to keep Padmé busy, occupied, out of the way, so they can discuss their separatist affairs. So let's go ahead and listen to the meeting between Lot Dodd and Rush Clovis.
This investment by the banking clan will create unimaginable new war profits. The largest droid factory ever built.
As long as the Republic doesn't find out, you should never have brought a member of the Senate here.
Okay, sorry, just want you to skip around the Padmé scene injected here. Let's get to the rest of the conversation.
I agree, Lord Poggle. For all the risks we're taking, we should be getting a greater share of the profits.
Now, Padmé's walking down the stairs. She's going to find this meeting. There's still a lot more information to get out of here.
Are you suggesting we change the terms of our agreement? No. A deal is a deal. I'd hate for something to happen to you.
You forget yourself, Clovis. You cannot threaten me on my own planet.
This is hardly your planet anymore. Not since you signed your holdings over to the banking clan in return for a stake in this new droid foundry.
We have company.
And that's when Padmé walks in. So they lower the hologram, and Secrets are no fun. Secrets hurt someone. All right, I want to play the last little tail bend part of here. Clovis is taking Padme away, but Poggle and Lot Dodd have a little bit more of a plan here, as they aren't enjoying having their feet held to the fire by Rush Clovis and the banking clans. Let's play this last part here, and that sets us up for the back half of the episode.
How do you think I feel? I hate the thought of answering to Clovis. But perhaps we won't have to, now that we've finally found his weakness. What if we were to poison Senator Amidala? I think Clovis would do anything to save her, and only we would have the antidote.
It's an interesting plan. I don't know what else to say, other than it's an interesting way to sort of, I don't know, get back on better terms and negotiate better terms with someone who seems to have all the advantage in negotiations. So yeah, Padme gets poisoned fairly quickly. They share a drink, and this is what, another reason why you don't share a glass with somebody. So Padme gets poisoned on their way to dinner, starts to not feel well, goes back to her quarters, but she's dedicated to the mission. Things need to be done. There's proof to be found, so she's going to go back to that chamber, and she's going to discover the recording that has the data, the information, everything for Count Dooku's new droid foundry. Here we go.
Tactical coordinates for Count Dooku's new droid foundry. And Clovis and the banking clan are behind it. The Jedi Council has to see this evidence.
Finally. Gotta go.
Well, it seems no one wants my company tonight.
C-3PO has been dissed most of this episode, by the way, but that's not unusual for C-3PO at this point. C-3PO gets just... They're so rude to that droid, and he puts up with it. He's just a champ, as usual. What I thought was interesting about the scene where Padme is attempting to get access to the data card and to everything on there is... I don't know what word I want to use, but Clovis, not the best with the passwords. Not the best with the passwords. And, Padme, not a great guesser of passwords either until she guesses her own name. So there is... it was interesting. And I like the way that she's... When she decides to guess that it's her name, and the way she sort of does that read. I really enjoyed that quite a bit, actually. Thought it was pretty funny when she makes that guess. All right, one more. I'm trying to keep up the next clip for you guys. Let's get to it right about... Ooh, I'm a second ahead. Things move pretty fast here in this last little bit here, as they're attempting to kind of get everything they need in place. All right, you might hear the tail end of Anakin talking here. Hang on.
I know her symptoms. She's been poisoned.
What do you mean?
She could die.
Get a hold of yourself, Senator. She is a Republic spy.
What? No.
All right, so there you go. That's a big chunk of that, and then I want to get to where Clovis goes to Padme's chambers, and finds that he finds. Yes, he finds that it's true. Let's put it that way. Here we go.
Passcode Padmé.
No hologram is available.
She did steal it.
Her purse there should have been the first sign.
Leave us. I was just in the library. The hologram disc is gone. I see now why you renewed our friendship. So you could spy on me and steal from me.
I did it for the Republic. I didn't want to believe that you were involved with the Separatists. But you are. You're a traitor.
Where is the disc you stole?
It's on its way to the Senate. Your scheme is finished.
Get away from her.
If you want to live.
Anakin, very threatening. Very macho here.
How dare you speak like that to me? I'm a senator.
What's wrong with her?
Lot Dodd poisoned her. She's dying.
I'll take her to the doctors on Coruscant.
There's not enough time for that. Lot Dodd must have an antidote. She's stolen a very valuable disc from me. Return it, and I'll get the antidote from Lot Dodd.
I prefer to negotiate with Lot Dodd in person.
No! He cannot be told...
What? That you lost the disc? I'm sure he'd be very interested in hearing all about this.
He might kill me if he finds out. But still, it's her life that I worry about. She must be saved because I love her.
In that case, I suggest you can help us back to the Senator's ship before Lot Dodd finds anything out.
Come with me, quickly!
All right. So I need to put a pin in it real quick because I did want to talk about when, it's really handy on some espionage missions when you have access to a Jedi nearby, because as Padmé's taking the disc with the droid foundry information on there, Clovis does come into the room, and she hides it behind her back. And then she goes in for a big hug as Anakin walks into the room. And of course, he's freaking out at first because he's like, he's Anakin. But she has a disc in her hand now behind Clovis's back, and she's able to drop it so that Anakin can use the Force to pull it to him so that he's able to recover that disc. I did like the way that played out quite a bit. All right, so now we're kind of to the big thing, the big climax of our episode here, where now Rush Clovis is attempting to barter, in a sense. Like, he wants to save Padme, but he wants his dang disc back, and he's hoping to be that a deal can be struck. That I'll get that antidote from Lot Dodd, but I'm going to need that disc back too. But Anakin very clearly using his feelings against him in order to save Padme, but also achieve the goals of the Republic. So it's a really interesting dynamic, really interesting. It's an interesting scene to watch. In the pay attention to what Anakin's saying, paying attention to the tone and the emotion that Rush Clovis is projecting in the scene, because again, you clearly can tell he does have some infatuation, rightly so or wrongly so, with Padme. I mean, like, she is his secret passcode, so for better or for worse. I don't know how Simply Safe would feel about a password that was that easy, but what are you gonna do? So yeah, but we're rushing headlong into our conclusion here. The rush for the antidote is on. Again, Clovis thinks he's going to get the disc back by getting the antidote for Padme, but Anakin and Padme both have other plans for that disc, and it's not giving it back to the Separatists. All right, let's just get into the final act here. Let's let it happen. Let's let it play. Here we go.
What is going on, Clovis?
I'm sorry, Lot. Senator Amidala is very ill, and we're taking her to her ship.
If Senator Amidala is ill, she should not be moved.
I have contacted the authorities on Naboo. They thought it best to take her back to Coruscant. The doctors there are better equipped.
You cannot leave!
Give me the antidote or you're dead!
All right, I'm going to pause it right here because this is something that I thought was really neat about this episode, and I hadn't talked about it with you guys just yet. This is the only time a weapon or a blaster or a lightsaber or anything is drawn in this episode. I thought that was that's very, again, I reference back to Hitchcock and John le Carré's spy novels. It's not always about like the gunplay and the quick random action, if you will. It's about the intrigue and the spycraft and the espionage and all these things. And you get that with this episode. Like, there's a lot of neat little character stuff here. We still don't really understand Clovis's plight necessarily, why he's thrown his lot in with the Separatists, other than that he's a banking clan representative. So you assume that it's greed based, that he's all about making money for the clan and profiting from it that way, despite him being a Republic senator for Scipio, which is an interesting dynamic. So I'm not quite sure how that works. That's another little bit of a question here. But I like that this episode's not so much based on, we just got 3 just like action heavy episodes of the Clone Wars, and it was fantastic, and I loved every second of it. So don't even get it twisted. But yeah, this is the only time a blaster or a weapon of any kind is drawn in this episode. And just by the way, in case you didn't notice, this is also one of the only times we've ever read the cast credits for this episode and have not read D. Bradley Baker's name, because there are no clones in this episode either. So something of a it's a bottle episode in a lot of senses. Because it's very self-contained. It's not self-contained to one environment necessarily, but it's a much smaller, more intimate show, which works well for this sort of spy conspiracy plot within the Senate, between the Republic and the Separatists again. So I wanted to point that out as we watch this final kind of confrontation, because again, Rush Clovis being not even knowing that he's being kind of manipulated here by two sides. He wants to save Padme, but obviously Dad wants what he wants. Anakin wants what he wants. It's all very interesting here, and Clovis kind of gets put in the middle here. It's interesting the way they played it out. I've used the word interesting a lot. That's just sort of the buzzword for this episode. It's an interesting episode. It's very unique in its own way, in that it's in its sort of, again, like tribute to Hitchcock, tribute to John le Carré. And there's other episodes throughout the run of the Clone Wars that pay homage to other wonderful pieces of genre, wonderful pieces of pop culture. And again, there's a couple of big ones coming up in this season, so brace for those. But again, this is a much more subtle, a much more low key tribute than some of the other ones that we'll see that are like much more obvious, much more upfront with it. All right, let's play the rest of the scene.
You pay for this. Give Clovis the antidote.
He gives it to C-3PO.
Your kindness is much appreciated, Senator. Take her, quickly.
And Anakin kind of gives a nod.
Have you lost your mind?
Yeah, Anakin's nod there is kind of telling too. But here we go. Let's play this final bit here.
Wait! Now give me back my disc!
Don't worry, Clovis. It's good to know you have a heart. I wish I could give you the disc, but I have a lot of faith in your survival skills. Where's that medicine, 3PO?
And the best part of this episode is the closing shot here. They take off in the Naboo freight ship. They're heading back to Coruscant. Clovis left on the landing pad.
What for? We got away and we have the hologram. The Jedi will use that information to destroy Count Dooku's foundry. Your mission was a success.
But I made you doubt me.
Never.
Clovis, we need to talk.
And you hear the battle droids blasters spindling up. And then again, I don't count that as weapons being drawn in this episode because it's for the closing shot. It's for the effect. Clovis's fate, not so good. Not so good. But what did you all think of this episode? Big fans? Not so big fans? I do like how it ends with a seemingly grim fate for Rush Clovis, but if you know the show, if you remember a lot of the details for the Clone Wars, which I don't remember as many as I thought I did. You know, that's the thing I've learned going back through these episodes. I'm like, oh man, I don't remember big vast swaths of this show like I thought I did. I remember the high points. I remember a lot of the highlights. But there's some detail stuff that I've definitely forgotten over the years. But yeah, Rush Clovis will be back. This is not his end fate, but it's a great ending of an episode for him. But yeah, he has another role to play down the road, and we will revisit him later on. And again, still infatuated with Padmé in that episode too. So buckle up, keep your bucket on for that one, okay? All right, I think you know, if I'm going to rate this episode, I give it's a 7 for me. You know, I could make an argument that it's a 6.5, honestly, but it's enjoyable enough. I like the spycraft stuff of it. They don't get into like a lot of like the nitty gritty spycraft stuff that I would have preferred to have seen. You know, if you and again, that's not really a Star Wars thing. There's not a great overwhelming spycraft presence in a lot of Star Wars material, particularly the stuff that's been on TV. If you want to find some cool spycraft stuff with Star Wars, though, go check out their Agent of the Empire comic book series. It was originally published by Dark Horse, but now you can find it online, and it's under the Marvel banner. Yes, it is constituted as Legends, but it's sort of like an Imperial slant on a James Bond kind of character, and it's a lot of fun, and that's got like more traditional spycraft stuff that you may really, really dig if that's a genre that you enjoy. But this is a solid outing for the show. Like I said, I think I'm going to stick with my 7 rating on it. And that's the episode. That's what we got. This has been the Mando Vision Podcast. I thank you so much for listening. I hope you're enjoying our rewatch of Star Wars The Clone Wars. I hope you're enjoying our coverage so far of Star Wars The Bad Batch. Looks like that's going to keep us busy on Fridays moving forward. Really excited about that. Just a new show. It's fun to do these rewatches because it's allowing me to reconnect with the material in a way that I didn't realize I'd forgotten so much. But having a new show like The Bad Batch is also wonderful and allows us a lot of really cool, unique opportunities moving forward. That being said, moving forward, we got a lot of big shows planned coming up. We're going to be exploring that new tab on the Star Wars Disney Plus page, the Star Wars Vintage Collection. We're going to get into it. We're going to start breaking those down, reviewing those, the highs and lows that exist on that Star Wars Vintage tab, because there are many of both. Many of both. So get ready for those. Just keep your bucket on. Never take it off. Maybe if you're in the bathroom, that's the only time. That's the only time you need to take it off. All right. My name is Tom, Nargai Tom. I am your host. I am so glad you've joined us here on our voyage through Star Wars. Remember, we are on your favorite podcasting platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Play, Pandora, Amazon, Audible, and so many, many more. We are on social media at Mando_Vision. You can email the show, mandovisiontom@gmail.com. And I'd love to hear from everyone. Hit me up on all the social medias, all the emails. Please, let's engage. Let's have a good time. Let's chat. I'm so glad we're talking about Star Wars. It's such a great time. Oh boy. I love doing this podcast, and I love that people are listening to it. So thank you for the umpteenth time. I will be back extremely soon, because we have the Bad Batch coming up. It's just around the corner. All right, this podcast can only end one way. This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
Bounty hunting is a complicated profession.